What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pixel Perspective Podcast. My name is JJ, and I'm here with my good buddy Adrian. Adrian, what's going on, man?
Hey, JJ, not much, man. Happy to be here, as always.
Heck yeah. Before we get started, I just want to give another huge, massive, gigantic shout out and thank you to Stefan for hanging out with us last time. It was freaking awesome having him on, and he was just a joy to talk to and learn from, and just the cool stories that he told, and the sheer amount of like good he's doing for frankly anybody who's nostalgic about video games in general is just awesome to me. So seriously thank you, man, for real. And anybody who hasn't gone back and listened to our last episode, definitely go check it out, because it's well worth a listen.
Absolutely, my sentiments exactly.
So today we're going to be talking, it's a pretty simple episode. We're just going to be talking about games that kind of like, the games that brought us out of our comfort zone, games that we wouldn't normally play. Like for me personally, I love JRPGs and adventures, that kind of thing. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about games that pulled me out of that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually kind of surprised that I like this so much, and, reasons behind that and whatnot. So, but before we do that, Adrian, what have you been playing?
Well, I've been playing a few things. Surprisingly enough, I beat a game. Not only did I beat a game within a few weeks of it being released. So
nice.
That's a huge accomplishment for me.
Metroid.
You got it. Metroid Dread. Yeah. I've been playing almost primarily that.
Wow.
Actually, and before I get into that, there is a few other things I've been playing, but not as much. So I've been playing Far Cry 6. And enjoying that quite a bit as well. I haven't played a Far Cry since 3. So all the complaints that people have about it being too similar to the older games, sure, I'm okay with them, because I skipped several versions up until then. To me, this feels like a very well done, well polished version of Far Cry 3. So thoroughly enjoying that. I want to try some of the co-op though. My brother has the game, and my brother-in-law also has the game. So we're just looking for an opportunity to jump on and try it. I just feel like that game would lend itself well to co-op experience.
I can tell you 5's co-op was not great.
Oh, really?
At least my experience with it. Yeah.
How so?
It was mainly like, from what I remember, it was only in special modes that you could do it. Like you couldn't do like story mode co-op. It was just like side. Honestly, I think they were player created missions that were just like side things and yeah, special like arcade modes and that kind of stuff. It's been a long time, and I played it on Xbox with a buddy of mine, and I was just like, because I got it on Xbox. You know me, I don't typically get games on Xbox unless it's exclusive to it, because the controller, they have the X button in the wrong place. Okay, it's in the wrong place. That's why.
Yeah.
But they basically we tried doing it, and it just we couldn't do it story mode, which was really frustrating, because that was the whole reason I got it on Xbox, was to play it with him. I still played through the game, finished it, really enjoyed it and stuff, but had I known that, I definitely would have gotten on PlayStation 4. So it is what it is.
Well, now that has me curious if it's the same or not. I'll have to look that up, and if anybody knows, please go ahead and comment on this video, let us know. I haven't tried it yet, and I do want to. The thing is the missions are fun. I like going in and planning out how I'm going to infiltrate this base or whatever.
That's the best part.
Yeah, and I like being silent. Like, I'm not typically a huge fan of espionage type games. I say that, but I play a lot of them. But it is kind of fun if it's well done to figure out where you want to go and how you want to take the next step. So it would be cool if they had co-op through the story where I could have somebody else come in there with me, and we started opposite ends of the base or whatever, and said, hey, you take out those guys, I take out these guys, and let's go. It just, that seems like it'd be a lot of fun. So I am enjoying that. I am enjoying the goofiness of it. The world is massive. The map is so big. Probably one of the biggest open worlds that I've played. Yeah, but other than that, I've been playing Back for Blood as well. I played that for 2 nights, not a whole lot, but it's Left 4 Dead. If you like Left 4 Dead, you're gonna like Back for Blood.
I read an article this morning that was basically talking about how apparently since Back for Blood has come out, Left 4 Dead 2 has gone back through the roof as far as its player base. People have been going back to that
Really?
game. Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
not that it's bad or anything, but yeah, they I guess they're just like, the original is better. And so I don't know. I haven't played it myself. So
I think it plays exactly the same. Like I really, it's been so long since I played the Left 4 Dead games that this just feels like a spiritual successor. And it's the same damn game. Like all the enemies are designed differently and everything. And but I mean, as a co-op experience, it's fun and it's very challenging too. That game is hard. There's been several missions where we all get wiped out and we have to restart and try again, and we all get wiped out and try again. And then when we get through it, it's fun. It's just figuring out the best path to take and the roles that each character should be taking to make us get through it. It really does. It really does challenge you. So that's fun.
Cool.
Still playing Fortnite quite a bit. I bought the new Jill and Chris skins for Fortnite. You know what's funny is I don't play that game that often, but I put a lot of money into it for buying the different skins and stuff. Not just for me, but for Owen. If he wants,
I was gonna say Owen plays it quite a bit though, right?
He plays a lot, yes.
Yeah.
And I won't say that I bribe him with skins, but yeah, I bribe him with skins. Owen, get the dishes done tonight, get your homework done, and if he really wants a character, then there's an incentive there for him to get it, and then I'll give him the points he needs to buy it. But yeah, still having fun with him. It's, if nothing else, it's just a game that he enjoys that I can play with him. But yeah, Metroid Dread, that's the one I've been playing primarily, and I finished that last week, I think. That game was so fun, man. I couldn't stop playing it. It was one of those.
How long did it take you to get through?
It took. Well, the game says it took like just under 9 hours.
Okay.
8 or 9 hours. But
that's what I meant. Was just, like playtime.
Playtime. Yeah. Official playtime. But I died so much in that game and had to restart checkpoints so often. It's got to be well more than that. I was shocked by the time.
It kicks back the time when you die?
I don't know if it does or not. I was a little bit surprised by the time. I felt like I put more time into it than it says I did. Fair enough. I don't know if I trust it. What I ought to do, you know how the Switch, whenever you go to profile, will tell you how many hours of a game you played?
Yeah.
That's what I want to check. Or at the end of the year, when they give you your rundown of how many hours your most played game, I'm curious to see what it says versus what the game says. But sorry, need some water. There's a lot to say about that game. I'll start by saying I don't think it's a game that you would enjoy, JJ. It doesn't seem like...
I've already come to that conclusion.
The Emmys don't seem like a thing that you would like. And this is only based upon what I know about you with things that chase you.
Yep. I'll get into that in a minute.
The Emmys are they're robots that basically kill you as soon as they touch you. You have an option to counter or avoid their attack, but it's through a quick time event, and you have to be so precise with when you press the button that out of all the times I got caught, I probably got it maybe 20% of the time. It is very, very rare. It's just like, if you get caught, you're going to die. That's just how it is. So the way it works though, is the map is set up with several different smaller maps, and each map is separated by some sort of like a train or a teleporter, or, an elevator, or whatever the case may be. And you just go back and forth through these different areas. And then as you unlock new abilities, you unlock new areas, just like Metroid games have always been. This one adds in sections into each map where there's an Emmy, and your usual goal is to get from one end of this Emmy patrolled area to the other end without getting caught. And you unlock more weapons, and then your eventual goal is to be able to get in, fight a boss in the Emmy zone, get the weapon from that boss that can kill the Emmy, and then go and kill the Emmy with that weapon. But the killing the Emmy with that weapon isn't as straightforward as shoot it and it's dead. Right. You've got to weaken it first, and then you got to kill it after that with a kill shot or whatever. And it all takes charging and everything else. You have to have a very clear line of sight before you even start attacking the Emmy. Otherwise, you're gonna have to run away from it again. It sounds worse than it is. It is frustrating, but I don't think it's as frustrating as the boss fights. At least with Emmy zones, you know where they start and you know where they are. You can find the end point pretty easily. And if you die, they reload you at the start of the Emmy zone, so you can go right back into it again. So it's not a huge setback if you die, other than the load times. Load times are kind of ridiculous on there. So that's the only thing that annoyed me about dying. But yeah, it's satisfying when you kill an Emmy, and every time you kill an Emmy, you get a new ability. The abilities that you unlock are a lot of fun to use. They bring back a lot of the old ones along with some new ones. The maps are put together in a way that feels intentional. I never felt like I was lost. There was a couple times where I needed to try to look at the map, and the maps because there's so many small little maps connected. It's not quite as easy to go in and figure out where you are and where you need to be and how to get there. But sure, they do a good job of blocking off doors, so that way there's only one path that you can take. And sometimes there might be 2 or 3 paths that you can take, but then you just look at the map and figure it out. Oh, this is where I need to go.
Right. It
seems to me that a lot of thought was put into the level design, making it a fun adventure to go through. And yeah, it was crazy to me that I wasn't pulling up my map constantly like I thought I would be. And that, I think, speaks to pretty decent level design.
Yeah.
The frustrating part, the boss fights, like I said, oh my gosh, the boss fights in this game are excruciatingly difficult sometimes, especially the final boss. Each one of them has a set of attacks that are well telegraphed, or telegraphed very short spans. So you have to be quick to react to it. And even the mini bosses are the same way. And so the problem is, you get in and you fight this boss, you die. You learn a little bit about it and learn how to dodge or block or parry or whatever the attack that's coming. And then you go in and you do it again until you learn the boss patterns. And then once you learn them, I almost felt like I could go in and beat that boss and only get a hit a couple times because I've got it so well memorized.
Yeah.
And that was satisfying to me. It was a lot of fun doing that. Then the other thing that kind of sucks, and I know you played Samus Returns, right? On 3DS, or did you? Oh, you didn't. Okay.
I played the original.
Okay. So not Samus Returns. My biggest complaint about Samus Returns when that game came out was I felt like I was having to push too many buttons at the same time. Sure. And like you would have to hold one button and shoot a button to shoot a missile, and then you would have to hold another button. And on the 3DS, it didn't feel comfortable, and it just wasn't great.
I can imagine.
It's the same thing here on this one. There's a lot of holding buttons to push other buttons, and I never felt like I was confused as to what to do. But it did feel like I was given way too many abilities. I would have liked to seen some of those narrowed down a little bit,
simplified a little. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And especially towards the end of the game, it's like the pacing is pretty good, and then at the end, it's like whoop, new ability, whoop, new ability, whoop, new, just constantly all the way up until the final boss. It's like, man, I didn't even really got a chance to use this ability yet. Yeah. Like when you get the screw attack is one of the last ones you get, and it's like, well, now I can go to all these areas that I couldn't go to before. So I guess I could either go and re-explore the whole map again, or just go to the final boss and beat the boss and, finish the game. I opted to go finish the game. So
Sure.
The final boss, though, man, there's 3 phases, and each phase is equally as hard as the previous phase. But
Checkpoints?
There was a checkpoint right before you fight him.
But I mean, like in between each phase?
No, not between the phases.
Oh.
Yeah, you have to start all over again. So, excuse me, my mouth is super dry tonight. I have to keep drinking. When I started that game, it was at night, and I'd gotten to the boss finally, and I must have tried to beat him like a dozen times. Finally got frustrated, and I was getting a little bit closer every time. I got so frustrated, I was like, you know what? I need to just go to bed and try this again. Got up the next day, turned it on, didn't beat him the first time. The first time was just like me getting reacquainted with the controls because they're so damn complicated. And then the second try, I beat him easily. I still had almost all my health left. And like, it's just, I had all those patterns memorized. And I guess just the sleep helped me to be a little bit more responsive with my reactions.
Amazing that I can do that.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so I ended up beating the game, and man, it was so satisfying. Like this cut scenes in that game, there's a lot of them, but some of them are so damn cool. They make Samus look like a real badass whenever she's fighting these guys, and then after you beat them, and she's
mean Metroid, right?
Around them. Metroid, yeah, Metroid.
That's his name.
Actually, no, I won't get into that. Spoiler territory. Yes, I am. Spoilers if you don't want to know. Samus is a Metroid officially, because she has Metroid DNA, and now she's officially a Metroid.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Was the Metroid story ever really that deep?
No.
No. I'm not trying to discount it. If you love the story, that's great. It's awesome. I have not heard very many people like gush about the lore of Metroid.
No, me neither. I do enjoy. Actually,
I heard Prime is actually pretty good when it comes to the story.
The
Prime trilogy.
Yeah, I haven't played any.
I've heard the Prime trilogy is actually really good on it. But
the
regular side scrolling is, as far as I have seen, is more about the gameplay.
And it should be. I don't really care about a storyline in those games. It's really about the gameplay and exploration. But that is the first Metroid game I've ever beaten. Fun fact.
Really? You never even beat Super Metroid?
Nope, never beat it. Yeah.
I beat a Metroid game before you?
You did. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I've played all of the 2D Metroids, and this is the first one I've actually stuck through to the end.
Wow.
I would like to go back and play Super Metroid, though, for sure.
Super Metroid is worth a playthrough all the way through. Honestly, it's pretty damn fantastic.
Yeah.
And it would honestly fit in well with what we're talking about today for me. So
I'll also say that I am motivated to go back and play through them. Like, I kind of want to go back to Samus Returns and finish that. Then I want to go play Fusion, because this is kind of a direct sequel to Fusion. And it feels like it too, from what I remember from Fusion. The thing is with all these Metroid games is I get about halfway through them, but I don't actually finish them.
Sure.
So I felt the need to stick this one out. I just thought this one was really well done. And I've heard other people say that they don't really particularly care for the new Metroid. It doesn't, it's not a lot of people, but what I'm seeing online, and there's valid complaints there. I mean, if you don't like the Emmy, if that's something that frustrates you, then you're probably not going to like this game, because it's a big piece of this game.
Yeah.
But once you understand how to avoid the Emmy, it's really not that bad. I mean, you'll still get caught, but being able to start over right at the beginning, and these areas you don't go through them. It's not that long that you go through them. It's like getting from point A to point B while avoiding the Emmy. It's just how fast can you run? How fast can you dodge? How fast can you slide under stuff or jump over stuff? That's all it really is. And it's not that bad. Not for you, though. Not for you. I know how you are, and I know that you don't like that stuff. I really don't think you would like it. So, what about you? What you been playing?
Well, on that note, as far as being chased, what you were alluding to, I played and beat Resident Evil 2.
Yeah,
Um,
the remake.
yes, the remake, and I did both stories. So I did Claire A and Leon B.
That is incredible to me. As much as I love those games and love that game specifically, I've only played through Claire's scenario.
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I really, really just loved the hell out of it. I loved the exploration. I loved getting to figure out the puzzles and learn the history of what happened regarding the police station and Raccoon City itself. Umbrella was really, really fascinating. That being said, I would have liked to have been able to take my time and learn and appreciate more. But those segments with stupid the Mr. X guy, X gave it to me. X gave it to me quite a few times. And it was just really, really frustrating. And I was just like, dude, just let me, I just want to play the damn game. I don't want to be chased. This is like, it's not even scary. It's just annoying. Like the first time when he first popped out, I was like, oh God, what is happening? You know, and it was actually, you know, legitimately like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And it kind of freaked me out a little bit. But then eventually it just became like, oh God, again, you know, come on. And like, that's not how a horror game should be. A horror game shouldn't make you just roll your eyes, be like, oh God, here we go. Jeez. You know, it should make you like be jumpy, be frightened, that kind of thing, which I don't want to, you know, I'm not. Again, this is another one that would fit in well today because I'm not super into horror games typically, especially not playing them on my own, which I did. So
it's like, it reminds me of Dark Souls, like when you get invaded in Dark Souls with the Mr.
roll your
X,
eyes. Yes.
Where you're just like, trying to,
God dang it.
Yeah, exactly.
Thankfully Mr. X honestly was less frustrating than Dark Souls though.
Yeah.
Because I could, you know, shoot him a couple of times and he'd go down and then I'd be able to just run away and find a safe room or something like that. And
he's a computer, not a player controlled.
Right.
Makes it easier.
But overall, I really, really enjoyed it. And I thought it was great. And that's, you know, that's why I played through both, because I wanted the full picture. The story doesn't really make sense because they say like, oh, you got to, you know, see what the other character is doing while the first character is going on. But if you really, really think about it, it doesn't make any sense at all based on what happens. But it was still really fun to play and neat. So I enjoyed the hell out of that. I also played, I've been playing Final Fantasy 14 still, just a whole bunch of that because the new expansion's coming, and I have been in a free company in that game, a guild basically, for the past year, and still am just a massive solo player. I pretty much do everything solo. I got into my first guild group like event they were doing because they do a lot of stuff, and I got along with everybody. It was really cool. And like, I made a whole bunch of new friends that I was playing with for a long time, but never really got to know. And that was kind of neat just to get on there. So really, really enjoyed that. So First Class, free company on Leviathan server. You guys are legit. It was a lot of fun. They liked when I did the Stewie voice on the microphone. Come on, Brian. Yeah, they all cracking up when I was doing that. So it's a good icebreaker no matter what.
Yeah,
it works. Yeah. When I first did that, one of the guys goes, "Oh, somebody's got a soundboard." And then I started calling his character out by name, and he was like, "Wait, what?" Pretty good. But yeah, I love that game so much, and I still, you know, go back to it and play every now and then. But what I've been playing the most lately, Dragon Quest 11.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really?
I'm not gonna go like hardcore into in depth about what I think right now because I am going to do a full review for the channel. But to see, I'm so glad I played through the series from the beginning. Like I a little part of me is a little sad that I couldn't get to this in time, like when it first came out, because I would have loved to have played along with everybody else when it was first coming out. And this, I guarantee, would have been my game of the year that year. But getting to see like how far the series progressed from the beginning to where it is now with this game and what they've done is like, what they've done with Dragon Quest is what God I wish they would have done with Final Fantasy. They really, really like nailed the new game with that old school feel still. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful experience. I love the cast. I love the music, the world, the story. It's honestly like, as far as the graphics go, like the story's like super basic. It's nothing we haven't seen before, but it's very reminiscent of like Super Nintendo era RPGs, which, is my bread and butter. But then you put on the updated graphics and the new artwork and everything like that, and the gameplay, and it is just such a wonderful experience. So yeah, look for my review. I mean, obviously I'm going to just be gushing about it the whole time, but I do have a lot to say on it. And I'm still not finished. I'm still working my way through. I'm very close. I'm in between 50 and 60 hours right now.
Wow.
And I'm kind of tempted to go for the platinum on it because I'm enjoying it so much, which I've heard takes like twice that. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see once I get done, like how much I have left to do, because I've been trying to do all the side stuff and everything as I'm going through it. I'm just really enjoying that game. If you've never played a Dragon Quest game before, this is the perfect one to jump in and get started on. It's so good. It's so good.
So I have a couple questions for you about that game, because I played up until you get to the port city, and you're having to avoid getting captured by guards. If that rings a bell at all. I don't remember the name of the city. And
Gondolia, I think, is what you're talking about.
That sounds Gondolia, right.
1 and 2.
Yeah, and you get on the little boat and navigate through the city on the boat. That game is hard. First of all, I had a challenging time on some of the bosses in that game. I don't know if I'm just under leveled or
I thought it was I thought it was like ridiculously easy. See, really? And that's honestly though, like I am not like, you could be 100% right. Because I've played the series from the beginning, I've become accustomed to these games are so grind heavy. So anytime I get to a new area, I immediately start grinding for levels and money.
Yeah.
So that's probably why it's a lot easier for me to get through. I don't know that you have to do that necessarily in this game, but it obviously helps.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there's another part. I don't know if it's that part. That's the part I remember the most, but there's also a part where when you're doing the competition, when you're battling against other people in the like the Coliseum type setting.
Yeah.
Is that before or after that part? Do you remember?
I think it's I honestly don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either. I remember having a hard time with that,
but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
But I know both parts that you're talking about.
Both of those parts have given me a hard time, and that's why I remember them. But I remember getting just stuck on a boss, and I gave up after that. And I would love to go back to it, and I will go back to it. I just haven't really been motivated to. I don't know why the game is not pulling me in like it is for other people.
I would say honestly, the first like few hours of it, I even like was talking to friends of mine who were swearing by the game and everything. The first few hours that I played, I was just kind of like, it's pretty generic. Like it's typical Dragon Quest. There's nothing like out of the ordinary. It's fine. I don't hate it. It's fine. And then the story started picking up, and you start getting to know the cast of characters and everything, and you find out what happened in the past. There's a big dramatic like event that happens about maybe 3/5 of the way through the game. That is just kind of like, and I
want to see that. I want to see that.
And it's like it has a lot to offer, especially if you play the special edition, because there are a lot of additional scenes and stuff in there too. I love the 2D sections; those are so neat. I absolutely adore the game so far. It is spectacular.
Well, that's good to know, because just what you said, I'm feeling like the storyline isn't really the driving force for me. It's not doing much for me. But if it gets good, then
Dragon Quest games in general have never had like super deep storylines,
right?
But they've had likable ones, if that makes sense. I would say probably the two best prior to this one were 5 and 8. 8 just because it's such a great game. 8 is honestly like a PS2 version of this, like where you have just a great story, great cast of characters, and they really added a lot of meat to the game itself as far as the gameplay, the world, and just the visuals are stunning in that as well. And 5 probably has one of the before playing 11, I would have told you 5 had the best story in the series. Do you know anything about the story in 5?
From the movie. Does that count?
Yeah, you're not the hero. You're not like the legendary hero.
Okay.
You are actually like tasked with finding him. So you like for the first little bit of the game, your father's like, oh, I've been searching for the hero my entire life, and I have his sword and shield to give to him, and blah blah blah, whatever and stuff. And your father dies, and you assume you are eventually going to take up the mantle and become the hero. And you're like, my father knew that or didn't know, but I was there all along and stuff. And you finally get to that point where you grab the sword and shield after your father's long gone, and nothing happens. And you're like, oh crap, I guess I have to go find the hero now. And so you're actually like going through the game, and this all happens like super early on that you find all this out. So you're actually going through the game as somebody who is trying to find a legendary hero, and you become like a group that is trying to help the world, overcome darkness by finding this figure.
Something
really
like
cool.
that seems way ahead of its time for when that game came out.
Yeah, 5 is a great game. Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, there's monster taming in there as well, so you can have them join your party.
Nice.
And
nice.
Obviously other party members. You also get to choose a bride that you have kids with eventually, and like they all become party members, and like it's a fantastic game.
I want to play that.
3DS version's really good if you can get your hands on it. 3DS versions of Dragon Quest games are astronomically expensive now. They've all shot up like crazy.
I've got all the DS and 3DS games, and
good.
I've only briefly played them. I need to commit to one of them.
5 is one of the best stories. Before playing 11, I would have told you 5 was the best story in the series by far. But 11 is just so good, and the cast is just so great. I'm a sucker for diversity when it comes to a cast of characters in RPGs, and this one has a wonderful cast of characters.
It is pretty diverse. I'm not a huge fan of the characters though. The little girl, she's annoying. I don't remember her name. And then the jester guy, he's also annoying.
The little girl is Veronica, and her sister is Serena. Rolando, is it Rolando?
That sounds right, or similar,
something like that. Yeah, it's something along those lines. It is like, I was not a fan of his at first, but when you get to that crazy twist I was talking about, and then there's like something that happens with him after that is in the special edition and not in the other one, my appreciation for him went through
I've
the
heard
roof.
that. You're not the first person to say that.
He is great.
Now I want to play it.
You know what? It's killing me right now. Hold on. Silvando, that's his name.
Yeah.
Silvando. Yeah. So did you get Jade and Rab, the old man and the martial artist girl?
Because
that's right after.
I think so.
That is after the tournament that you do.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you find out who they were though?
No.
Okay, because and you're close, because it's not long after you get them that you find out who they actually are, and that's when it starts to kick in a little bit, and you're like, oh, okay. It's
okay. So I quit right
really
before
cool.
It starts to get good, is what you're saying.
I mean, it sounds like it. It's really cool. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm gonna jump back into it.
Man, I've not been like this excited about a Dragon Quest story since 5 or 8, quite frankly. All the other ones were fun, but yeah, this is easily, I really, this is my favorite one in the series, hands down, and it's spectacular. I remember when Lewis Platinum Bro was on the show, he was telling me I need to try it out, and he was not kidding.
He was gushing over that game for
fantastic.
Sure.
Yep. Yeah, it's fantastic. So and then on top of that, I also finished my list of 20 games for that I'm going to beat for 2022. Yes. So I will be doing a video on that pretty soon. That took some time to put that. Like, I kept going back to it for like at least 2 months, erasing stuff and putting new stuff on there, and because I had so many that I wanted to play, I'm just like, crap.
Are you going to share that list at the beginning of the year, or?
probably be at the beginning of the year, either the beginning of the year or the very end of December.
Yeah.
We'll see. Just because there's something associated with it that I want to start at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
So we'll see. Yeah.
You oughta like encourage your subscribers to maybe participate as well. With
that may or may not have something to do with it.
Okay.
Possibly. We shall see.
Hint. Whoops.
No, it's all good. I don't know that anybody would be able to guess it, so maybe who cares, even if they do. But
it would be such a
on the horizon.
Fun thing. I mean, that is.
If it works out, it's. I think it'll be awesome. Yeah, absolutely. I think it'll be really, really cool. If it doesn't, I'm still gonna do it myself. So whatever. I'm not really worried about it, but I would love for it to work out the way that it. I'm picturing it in my head. So
well, your 20 list idea or 20 game list idea has been influential to some people, that I've seen.
I'm surprised at how many people like actually get into that, and message me and that kind of stuff about. I'm like, okay, all right.
Well, and I think I've already told you this. My buddy Billy, who we play Dark Souls with occasionally, he started a list too, not too long ago, of Super Nintendo games, inspired by your list. I thought that was pretty cool.
You're getting a status update on that? How he's doing?
I did not. I saw him. I went to my 20-year high school reunion a couple weeks ago. I graduated with his wife, and he was there with her. He was
graduated in 2001.
I did, yeah.
So did I. Yeah, mine was a few weeks ago as well.
Did you go?
I did not. No.
Oh, I went. I had a good time. It was fun connecting with people I didn't really connect with in high school.
Sure.
Yeah, everybody changes, but it all seems the same. It was a little bit weird getting there. I felt deja vu when we were all in the auditorium. I'm looking over across the room. I was like, I remember all of these people. It just felt like I went 20 years in the past. It was odd.
Wow.
But anyway, when he was there, he's like 3 years older than me, 2 or 3 years older than me. I was talking to him about Metroid and some other stuff, but we never got into the list. I also found out that he lives in an area that doesn't get good internet, and this is why he can't play games with us anymore. Yeah. It's sad.
It was unfortunate.
Yeah.
Would have been nice to have him for Dark Souls 3.
Absolutely, it would have. I told him to. We miss you on the game, man.
Yeah. But yeah. So other than that, and I there's the only games that were locked in for the list of 20 was the one that I had been planning that is gonna have the extra stuff that I've already told you about. And then there were 2 games that I let Lamont, who I've has sent me way too much stuff. I let him pick 2 games.
We forgot to mention we played Diablo 2 a little bit with Lamont.
We did. Yep. And he blazed past us like crazy. And he is like so far ahead at this point.
I gotta say to Lamont, I'm sorry. I don't think I'm gonna be playing any more Diablo 2 though. I could not get into that game, man.
I thought I was gonna play it way more than I did, and then I just was like, it's okay. I guess I just don't have the drive.
No,
I was so
don't either.
Excited for it too. It just made me. It's so disappointing.
Well, the thing was for me is I joined in after you 2 had already been playing, and so you guys were trying to run me through the game, and I don't recommend playing a game like that.
No,
it was not fun to me.
No, I don't blame you. I was thinking we could get to the nightmare difficulty mode, and then we'd just be on the same playing field and just start the game from there.
That would have been ideal. Yeah, you did say that. It was just like I still was trying to learn how to play the damn game and understand what to do. But all I was doing was playing follow the leader. And anytime I got new loot, I wanted to try it on. And then it's like, well, I don't have time to, because it's time to move on to the next task.
Yeah.
And
well, if you ever try to get on there to try it out again and you want to start over, let me know. I'll start a new character.
It's always possible. I mean, I feel like I wasted $40 on a game that I'm not going to play anymore, but whatever. It is. I did get on there and try to play it by myself, but the problem is now I'm in an area where I am under leveled for what I was doing, because you guys were carrying me through, and I could go back and do quests again in the previous areas, but I don't want to.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, it's one of those games where you have to replay areas, and that really doesn't appeal to me much.
Yeah. Understandable.
Yeah.
Well, you want to get into it?
I guess we should, shouldn't we? We're like 40 minutes in and we haven't even started our topic.
So games that are outside of your comfort level. The way I kind of looked at this was like games that, and the reason that it even like hit me to do an episode on this was because there's been a handful that I have recently played within the last couple of years that I typically wouldn't get into. So I was like, I'm kind of surprised with the games that I've gone into and completed, quite frankly. Perfect example, Resident Evil. I have already played 0, 1, and 2 this past year. And I had never played any of them before, never really even had any interest. I had played a little bit of one of them way back in the day, and I was expecting running around killing zombies and just being this action game, and it was not, and I was really disappointed, and I just stopped and I was done. Now that I got to take my time and play through 0, 1, and 2, especially 2, it was excellent and I enjoyed the hell out of it. And it's kind of like helped me with patience a little bit and
oh yeah,
convinced me to like, hey, take a step back and actually take the game for what it is, rather than like, don't go in with expectations and that kind of thing. Because you're there's a better chance of you being disappointed if that's the case. Right. And Resident Evil is one of those things where it's hard not to go in with expectations because it's hyped up so much, especially at this stage in the game where, it's 2021 and I'm like, hey guys, I'm going to try Resident Evil 2. It's like, oh, okay.
Well, Resident Evil 2 remake.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
The remake, I think you got to be specific because the remake, while it is the same game, is completely different from Resident Evil 2.
I have no interest in going back playing the original on PS1. Yeah.
I went back to play Resident Evil 3 on the PS1. That is the game the only one in the series I haven't finished.
Besides, you said, did you beat 0?
Oh, yeah, no, 0 2. You're right. Okay, so out of all the games in the series, there's only 3 games I haven't finished. Resident Evil 3, the original, is one of those, and I booted it up on my emulation machine to play it on the Dreamcast version. I was really into that. I need to go back and start playing it some more, but this was only a couple weeks ago when I started playing it, and that is a solid game. I would recommend, if you ever get the inkling to want to go back and try them, just give it a shot and see what you think. They're so iconic.
Fair enough. I don't own them or anything, so I would have to procure them somehow. So
I can help you.
Yeah, I'll bet. I don't know. I really like have been like kicking myself for not at least diving into the remakes, years prior. 2 obviously just came out, but like 0 and 1 have been out for a few years now.
Yeah.
So
20 years.
I could have easily been trying those out, and I just didn't. So I'm glad I'm finally into it now. And by the time 9 comes out, whenever that is, or it's on 9, right? 8 was the last one that came out.
8, yeah.
So by the time 9 comes out, I will probably be ready for it. So at least
that'd be awesome. We're looking at probably 3 or 4 years, but I know it's coming. 8 was really a success.
I'm going to try and do 2 a year. So I've got Resident Evil 3, full disclosure. That's one of the games on my list, Resident Evil 3 next year. And also I would like to beat 4 by the end of next year as well, but it's not officially on that list. So if so, then I be making good time. And I may do more than that because I did 3 games this year. So we'll see.
Depending on your time.
Right.
I will say for 3, the Nemesis isn't as bad as Mr. X. So you have that to look forward to.
I've heard that. Yeah. Is it as bad, or is it like
no,
worse,
it's not as bad.
Oh, it's not
Mr. X. Mr. X was by far after you and harder to get around than Nemesis is. From what I can remember, there's only 1 or 2 game areas in the game where he just follows you around and you have to try to get away. Other than that, they're scripted chase scenes where you're running one direction.
Yeah,
and those are fun. For me, like I've got a ton of games here, man. I made a list, and the only reason I made a list is because I've been thinking about this topic quite a bit. Whenever you mentioned it to me originally, it's like, oh, that sounds like a great topic. Wait a second, I don't know of any games that are outside of my comfort level per se, you know. I'm willing to try anything. I don't really shy away from anything. If it's something that sounds good and people talk about it, I'll try it. But I did come up with some games here that were games that I wouldn't typically be drawn to, but for whatever reason, I tried and ended up loving. One of those games is the WarioWare series, specifically the newest one that just came out. You're shaking your head.
I don't get the appeal on those games. They're so dumb to me. Oh my
Yeah.
God. I
Yeah.
got one of them for free on, I think it was Wii U, one of those or something like that. I don't know, 3DS, one of them.
Uh-huh.
That was the dumbest thing in the like. Oh my God, it was so dumb. It was so dumb, and I don't understand the appeal because it's so popular.
Your take on it was exactly my take on it. I just thought it looked dumb. Like, how can this be fun?
I played it and I thought it was dumb.
Well, I always like the goofiness of those games. They always make me laugh. They're just, some of those mini games are just hysterical.
More power to you.
But I went ahead and I downloaded the demo for the newest WarioWare on the Switch, and I played. There was only a handful of mini games in that demo, and the goal is to just go until you run out of lives. And so I played through that demo, I don't know, like half a dozen times, getting a little bit further each time. And for whatever reason, it just connected with me like it never has before. And I've played the other WarioWare games, but I was never that big into them. I loved it. And I ended up going out and buying the game right after that. I was like, you know what? I need more mini games. And I'm almost beat it.
Tell me it wasn't like $60.
No, it was, how much I paid? I paid like $40 for it.
Ugh,
Still, I got more enjoyment out of that than I did Diablo 2.
As long as you liked it. Yeah. As long as you enjoyed it. That's what matters.
I'm still having fun with
Fair enough.
it. I haven't beat it yet. And my daughter, my oldest daughter loves it too. She's been playing it as well. It's one of the games that, like I said, I had the same perspective of it that you have. Like, how can these stupid mini games be fun? And it just is. It connects with me for some reason. So that's my big one.
Fair enough. Okay. I've got a list as well. You want to go back and forth?
Yeah, we do that.
Okay.
Go ahead and keep talking while I go refill, if you don't mind. I can still hear you.
Another one that I have done an entire video on is the Mass Effect trilogy. I had no interest whatsoever in playing this when it first came out. I thought it was a total bro game. I thought it was a shooter. I just saw a dude in space with guns, and I knew there were aliens, and that's all I needed to know about it to make up my mind. And it was the worst decision I could have made because I waited way too long to play that game. And the trilogy is honestly up there in my top 10 games of all time. I need to go back and play the remastered versions. I want to so bad as soon as I get the time to, because it was just mind blowing how good it was. And quite frankly, it not only like brought me out of my comfort zone to finally play. The reason I played it, if you haven't seen that old video of mine, because it was like one of the first I did on the channel. The reason I played it was because I was doing the Frozen North at the time, my old podcast, and Brian, one of the guys that I did that with, that was like at the time that was his bread and butter. It's all he talked about. I even had one episode where I literally like took his clips of his voice and spoofed him into this conversation between me and him, where he did a top 5 list and everything was just Mass Effect related. And I'm super proud of how it turned out because it was great. We talked about it and stuff, and he hyped it up so much. And I was like, you know what? I tried playing it once, and I got to the Citadel, which is like the first big community area, like city in the game, in the first one. And I was just like, it's just too big and there's just too much to do and too much walking, and I'm just bored and I want to leave. And I was like, if I do this for the show, I know I'm going to have a reason to play it and get through it. And man, I'm so glad we did, because we got through the first game, loved it, and I was already ready to play part 2. We waited, a few months, and I think it was like maybe 6 months down the line where we finally went to play 2. Man, I almost played 2 days straight. I was addicted to that game. It was so fantastic.
It was a great game. Yeah,
it really is. It's my favorite out of the trilogy.
mine too.
And you know, 3 was equally as spectacular. I just, it not only brought me out of my shell as far as like, you know, give other games a chance, but it also literally changed how I think when it comes to seeing games. It taught me to take a step back and learn more about something before jumping in, and not to just discount something right away. Ironic, because you know that's exactly what I do with Resident Evil as well. But that's honestly a big reason why I felt okay to give it a chance, you know, after all these years as well, was because I played Mass Effect and I thought to myself, like, well, that game was really good once I actually dove into it and give it a shot. So all right, screw it, let's give Resident Evil another try. And sure enough, you know, I ended up really enjoying it. So I owe literally like me just not being strictly a JRPG guy to being a full-fledged gamer, quite frankly, because it made me branch out so much into plenty of other things that I would not have otherwise played. So good.
So on that note, with that perspective that you just gave me, is Dark Souls on your list?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I figured.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You want to talk about that first, or
Dark Souls and one other thing? Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, Dark Souls is another one that's on there.
I figured when you were talking about like breaking out of your shell to try something new, I knew Dark Souls had to have been one of those.
There's a caveat to this though. I didn't play Dark Souls necessarily because I was excited to, or because I was like, I want to give it a shot to see how fun it is. I was still terrified, quite frankly, because I had heard nothing but horror stories about how difficult it was. And the last thing I wanted to do was play a game because it was hard. That's exactly why I won't play Sekiro. And that game's solo. You're forced to play solo.
Yeah.
But when you were telling me, you were probably the biggest reason I gave Dark Souls a shot, because you were saying that it is, you can play co-op, you can play with friends, and you can go through it together.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I will give it a shot in this case. And you know better than anybody, I get frustrated as hell when I'm playing those games. But
I see a side of JJ that nobody else gets to see.
Dude, yeah, it really does. That said, I still, like, as much as I hate certain moments and even certain aspects of those games, I still appreciate the absolute hell out of them. You know, and I've said that in any videos that I've done on any of those games in the series. And quite frankly, when we played, when you and I were playing a Demon Souls, the remake on PS5, that was so fun getting to dive into that together for the first time for both of us. And like, I love that game still. That's the only one out of all of them. Maybe every now and then on the first one, just because I know I wasn't like a massive fan of it in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But Demon Souls is the one that I look at and like, I kind of want to do another playthrough at some point.
Yeah.
I don't really have any interest in the other two, mainly because like 2, I had the best experience with out of the 3 Dark Souls games, and that was only because I was playing it with you and Billy, and the 3 of us. I had a blast with the 3 of us just going through, and that's what I was hoping for with 3. And unfortunately, with the internet issues, he couldn't join us, and 3 is still so populated with people that we got invaded constantly, and that was frustrating. So it was just a lot of things that kind of like, you know, steered that away from me, it being my favorite. And I know that it's like beloved, but I made a whole video. You can go check that on the channel, on the Soulsborne series, quite frankly. I was corrected. It's not a series. It is like, that's just kind of like the adopted name. It's not like an official series. It's just what people say. That's kind of how I look at it though. So sorry.
I think series still stands. I mean, they're not connected, but you can still call them a series. They're similar gameplays.
I think it's kind of along the lines of like saying, like, would you consider Metroidvania a series? I don't know that I would. So I kind of see their point.
Okay.
You know,
but those are made by 2 different developers. These games are made by the same developer.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
But I feel
I really Demon Souls was fantastic. And like I said, as much as those games frustrated me, as much as I could list you 1,000 bad things, I still would tell you that they're great games.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and they are. I agree.
Glad you agree. I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you didn't really come out of your comfort zone on those. That was your comfort zone. Was playing this game. So.
And the thing is like if you or anybody else were to come up to me and say, "Hey, let's play through those games again," I would drop whatever I was playing and do it again. That's how much I love those games.
Be playing Bloodborne eventually.
I can't wait. I can't wait. To be completely honest with you, I am ready to go back into Bloodborne. Bloodborne is such a good game, and I've only played through that one once, so I need a second playthrough on that one.
Okay. Is there magic in that game? I don't remember there
No.
being magic. Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay.
No, it's all guns, and every gun has two different attack or two different forms or whatever.
I watched Brian play a little bit of it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, as far as the series goes, Bloodborne to me is like, hey, we want to make another Dark Souls game, but we want to change up how you attack, and we want to change how the enemies look in the setting and all that stuff. It just feels more like a spiritual successor to Dark Souls more than its own game to me. I lump them in together because they just feel like the same game to me. And that's not a bad thing because I love the gameplay in those games. So,
yep. I'm glad I played them. That way I can, I'm not wondering anymore. And I definitely, like, as frustrated as I got, I would not consider it wasted experience at all. So,
and Elden Ring we'll be ready for, right? Yeah. Yay. It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be PvP filled also.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
It's got my what?
It's got the Game of Thrones guy writing.
Yeah, but really, like, do I pay attention to the stories in any of the other games?
I don't know. I hear that the story might be a little bit easier to decipher this time around.
I will say that people I know who I've talked to who are fans of the stories in the Dark Souls series swear by it. They gush about the stories in those games. Apparently there's some really deep lore, and it's really cool if you get into it. I've just never taken the time to do it because I'm too busy running away from other people trying to kill me. So, yeah.
There are a bunch of really well put together podcasts and YouTube videos that explore the lore of those games, and man, they're so well done. There's one guy in particular on YouTube, I don't remember his channel, but he goes into such detail with certain areas in the Dark Souls games and the characters involved in those areas and their backstories and things in that nature. And he illustrates while he's talking with in-game footage, and it looks like he gets just a free roaming camera and just goes around and takes beautiful photography and video of these different characters and areas and stuff while he's talking about it.
That's awesome.
It's very well done. I wish I knew the name of the channel. I just don't. I'm going to talk about my next one, which is The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I've only got one left, so yeah, do it.
Okay. Well, and I think a lot of my other ones can kind of be lumped together because there's similar reasons why they're on my list. But The Walking Dead, the Telltale series, the first one, that is a game that I'm not generally into story games like that, point and click adventures or things of that nature. And I get bored with them really quick. This one though, I was really into The Walking Dead when that game series came out. So I wanted more of it, and it just kind of hit me at the right time. And I was able to get into it, really get attached to the characters. And I know you've talked about it before, like how deep you got into that game. And I feel like the same thing happened with me playing through that. But then once I beat it, when the next Walking Dead season 2 came out, I couldn't get into it. I was kind of done. I was like, wow, I can't do this. And I've tried to play other Telltale games as well, and I can't do it again. For whatever reason, at that point in time, I was in the proper headspace to be able to just sit and enjoy the story more so than the gameplay, and I was able to enjoy it. But now those games, if I ever played another point and click adventure type game, it'll be because, you know, it's another franchise that I'm into or something. I'm just not into those games.
That's fair.
Yeah. But I at least gave them a try.
Yeah, for sure. And you enjoyed the first one for what it was.
Yeah. It was fun. But like even with oh my gosh, the pirate run one, the old pirate one. What is it called?
Pirate one.
Yeah, it's not a Telltale game. It's Lucas.
Oh, Monkey
Lucas
Island.
Arts. Monkey Island. When they re-released Monkey Island, remade it on the Xbox 360.
Yep.
I did play through that one. I felt the need to because that game is so well regarded. I just had to figure out why. I did get through that one, but I felt like I was pushing myself through more than anything just to see what it was all about. And there were aspects of it that I did enjoy, but for the most part, I felt like the puzzles were too hard, didn't really make much sense. And the storyline wasn't great. It was funny. But I don't know. I played enough of it to be like, yep, got my fill. I don't really want to do that again.
That's kind of how I felt about the Maniac Mansion. Rise of the Tentacle. Is that what it is? Something of the
Day
Tentacle?
of the Tentacle.
Day of the Tentacle. That's it. I thought that was a really, really neat game. I would have no interest in playing any more of those. I thought it was actually really cool also with that game that they have the original Maniac Mansion built into it.
Oh, really?
You can literally like go to a computer console in that game and then play the original Maniac Mansion
That's
while
funny.
you're in that game. Yeah, it's neat. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it was really, really clever and fun, but it's just, sorry, buddy. I don't know. It's just they're just so slow paced.
Yeah,
that it's really hard for me to stick with them. So not bad by any means, but yeah, just really hard for me to stick with it and want more afterwards.
Yeah.
So
well, I'm gonna give you one more, and then that way you can give your last one, and then the rest of mine can be lumped in for a specific reason.
Yep.
So my other one is Mario Strikers.
Oh.
So Mario Strikers is a game. I got that game at a garage sale last spring. So my first experience with Mario Strikers was when I got that game, and I popped it in just to test it and play it out. And I had so much fun playing that game.
It's so good. Yeah.
I was like, how have I not wanted to try this before? I could tell you why, but I had so much fun with it. And then I tried to get Owen into it so he could play with me. And he just wasn't digging it, wasn't understanding it enough.
The Mario sports games in general, honestly, are usually pretty good. Like they're pretty solid. Yeah.
Well, I've always been a fan of the tennis and the golf games, but I've never had an interest in soccer, and therefore I don't have an interest. I never had an interest to try this game out, and I wish that I would have sooner because this seems like a game I would have really gotten into back in the GameCube era when it originally came out.
Yeah.
Because at that time I was a big fan, or prior to that, I was a big fan of the NBA Jam, NBA Showtime on NBA on NBC, all those Hang Time, all those games that came out.
Sure.
Also the NFL Blitz series. I love the Blitz series. And those are just arcade style sports games. They're lightly connected to the sport, but it's more about fast-paced action. And that's how Mario Strikers is with soccer. It doesn't play like a soccer game plays. I mean, it's the same idea, but it's much faster paced, much more over the top and fun.
Characters
Special
different,
attacks.
they all got abilities, and
yeah. It was an exciting game, and I'm glad I tried that out. I just wish that actually, if they were to release a new Mario Strikers with online play,
I wish
I would buy it.
Yeah,
I would buy it.
I had played it when it was still relevant, like during the GameCube days. And me and my buddies used to play it. Oh my God, that game was so good back in the day. And I actually picked mine up last year too, when I was in Seattle at Pink Gorilla. That's where I got my copy. So yeah, I was super happy that they had it up there, and it wasn't expensive at all. I think I got it for like $30. So
that's not bad.
No, it wasn't at all. And it's complete. Everything's there. I haven't played it since I got it, but I definitely want to at some point. Honestly, like it's tough to recommend because you said that you tried to play it with like your family and they weren't really into it. But the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games is actually not bad either. There's a rugby game in there that is very, very reminiscent. And if you've got people to play with, oh my God, the shouting matches are amazing. It's so much fun. If you've got people to play with on that stuff, it's great.
That's a good recommendation. That's also one that I have zero interest in, but I'll be willing to give it a shot for, if it's got arcade style sport game.
A few of them. Yeah. I mean, there's some really generic, like, shot put and that kind of stuff. You can imagine how that is, but it's got like a few of those that are really neat. We played the rugby game nonstop because it's just so much fun. It was a blast. But you have to have people to play with. It's solo. It's just kind of Those arcade games are just meant to be played with other people.
They are. And I've never had, even with the NBA Hang Time and NFL Blitz, those games are not fun playing by yourself.
Speaking of Mario games with other people, did you pick up the new Mario Party?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you don't?
I don't think I will either until it goes cheap. I have the old
it's ever going to go cheap.
I mean, it might. The old one.
It's a Nintendo game. Did it really?
$40. $40 is my price point. Not 60.
I might go 40 at some point.
I still haven't. I've only played
it yet.
The previous version. I've only played it once or
twice.
This
is like. Do you know anything about this new one?
No.
This is not a new Mario Party game. I mean, it is, but it is a collection of all the most popular boards and mini games from previous iterations in the series. So it's all the best stuff put together into one, and you can play it online with other people.
You couldn't do that with the other one. I think they released a patch eventually.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I was like, "Do you have it?" Because yeah. So
I
do. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah.
That's good.
You want to get the kids together? We'll play some 4-player, online stuff. It's man, I love that stuff.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's yeah. I'm in.
Cool. I love the Mario sports games. They're great. I try to I didn't even spend that much time with Mario Tennis or Mario Golf, but the time I did, I had a blast with. I thought they were so much fun.
Yeah.
So, but they're all meant to be played with other people, and if you don't have somebody to play with quite regularly, they kind of get stale pretty quick.
Yeah,
that's the only downside. All right, you ready for my last one?
Yes.
I just did a video on it recently. This past week, so I'm sure you know what it is already.
Vroom. Oh, Forza
Horizon. I am not a racing game fan. Not that they're bad. I just don't have any super big desire to jump in and play them and dig deep and stuff. But there's something about the Forza Horizon series. I said it in the video that I made. I just put it out. The Forza Horizon is releasing on the 5th for early access. I released it yesterday, which was the 31st, Halloween, my video. So if you haven't, go check it out. And I just gush for 12 minutes straight about Forza Horizon 5, which I haven't even played yet. But I want people to give it a shot that aren't normally into racing games, especially if you're a racing fan. Chances are you're already going to try it out. You already know the Forza Horizon series is awesome, and you're going to hop in there and have a great time with it. But people who aren't racing fans, this is so much more of an adventure than it is just racing. You are, there's tons of mini games. There's tons of co-op. You're in a big, giant, massive open world where you're literally just if you don't want to race, you don't have to. You can just explore and get collectibles throughout this giant map. You can do tons of solo stuff. You can be in groups and just drive together and, BS on the freaking mics while you're just doing races and whatnot, or just driving around, doing anything you want to do. It's so good. I cannot stress enough how much 3 blew me away when I first played it. And it was towards the end of 3's life cycle. And then I was like, I'm hooked. I gotta get 4 when it comes out. And I started 4 when it came out, and I still play 4 now. I still hop on there every so often. And I love it. It's fantastic. The games are just so great. I have no doubt that 5 is going to be just as well received, and that I'm going to love it just as much. And that I will I'll play it like crazy for the first week or two, and then I'm sure I'll taper off and then take breaks and stuff. But I guarantee you, like when I'm trying to figure out what to play next, or I'm got some free time or something, I'll hop back in and do a couple of races, do a little bit more on the map. I love it, and anybody who wants to play, hit me up, because I absolutely will give my Xbox screen name out to anybody who wants to play that, because it's so much fun. It's a blast, and Adrian's played it online with me many times. And we always have a good time with it. So
even Libby, what was Libby's word?
Ribbles
Ribbles
and bits.
Ribbles.
And what was the other one? What's the other
remember.
one that she said? Dang it. She had a couple of where she like was having trouble reading some of the words on the screen.
I need to go back and listen to that episode where we talk about it. That was hilarious.
Rivals was what she was trying to say, but she ended up saying, like, it sounded like Ribbles, but now I'm convinced she said Rivals, like Rivels, or ALS, and so we just were cracking up. We were laughing so hard, and she was singing along to the radio while she was listening and playing, and we
had a
good
fun time with that. We really did. And it was nice to have Libby play with us too, and she thoroughly
played a little bit too.
Yeah. I've already cleared Forza Horizon 4 off of my PC and my Xbox in order to make room for 5, because I know once 5 comes out, I'm not going to play 4 anymore. So I'm excited for it too. But it's not just I love racing games. And
you have your save file on there though, right? Still,
I've always been a big fan of them, but this is definitely a standout series for me, because it's not just racing. There's challenges that you have to meet, and it's off-road racing and street racing and racing against things like airplanes and stuff, like you mentioned in your video. It's just like there's so much over-the-top stuff. It's a great series.
And I love the new co-op stuff that they've added in there with 4, like just the random like events where you see a big pink circle on the map, and anybody can go just drive to it, and then like the timer counts down, you start up, and then it says like, all right, get this many points by doing this trick, and everybody starts working as a team to do this trick and work and try to get as many points as they can. It's so cool.
It's just saving
up money to buy houses and cars, and man, there's so much.
There's incentives to keep going, and it does such a great job of drip feeding you this stuff that you want. But yeah, like those community events are just like Destiny. When Destiny has those community events and everybody has to come together to take down a certain boss, that's how these community events are in Forza Horizon. It works so well.
In really this one, game. I think it's going to be bigger too, because everybody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's no like everybody's playing on the same map. There's no different, I don't know if they're servers or like instances or anything like that. But like everybody is on one giant map, and that's it, online. So I'm wondering how that's going to play out. It'll be interesting to see, but that's what they were saying in the videos that I watched. It'll be super interesting. I know they like you have cars that phase in and out and stuff, and so you won't be running into people left and right, but it'll just be interesting to see that, rather than having to load into somebody else's game, which is what they typically have had to do in the past. So we'll see. But I cannot wait. I think it's gonna be a blast, and it's only a few days away.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'll be in there for sure.
There is if you have if it detects, I think, like some kind of save data or something from Forza Horizon 3 and 4 on your Xbox, you'll get cars.
That's always good.
So,
I'm most excited about the auction house. I had so much fun with the auction house.
I remember that.
Trying to get that rare car for super cheap. That's what I'm after. So my last bit of games here, they all have a common thread, which is these are games that I either bought because of a demo, or I played a demo and then ended up buying the game as a result. And what I mean by that is there were certain games, like the first one here on my list, Zone of the Enders. I bought Zone of the Enders in order to play the Metal Gear Solid 2 demo that came with it. I had zero interest in Zone of the Enders. So I bought a game specifically to play a demo for the game that I was excited for. And it worked. I mean, they used to do that a lot back in the day to try to sell more games. Package a demo.
Dragon Quest 8 originally on PS2.
Exactly. That's on my list. That's on my list too. It had the Final Fantasy 12 demo on it,
Yep.
Final Fantasy 8. And so I bought Dragon Quest 8 to play the Final Fantasy 12 demo. I'd never played a Dragon Quest game prior to that. And yeah, I ended up loving the Dragon Quest game too. But also Brave Fencer Musashi.
It had the Final Fantasy 8 demo.
Yeah, exactly.
That also had a Xenogears demo as well.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
That's where I first learned about it, and I was like, "What is this?" Yeah.
Huh. No, that's good to know. But I mean, all three of these games, I ended up loving, especially Zone of the Enders. Zone of the Enders was the big surprise hit for me. I loved that game so much. It quickly became one of my favorite games at that time. And I would like to go back and play it and see if it still holds up. But if you've never played Zone of the Enders, it's a mech game.
Oh, mech game. Okay.
Yeah,
I have seen like I can picture the box art, but I just haven't played it.
Yeah. I'm not typically into mech games at all. And but for some reason, this one just, it felt good. It felt right. It felt different than anything I'd have played at the time. Cool. I just really enjoyed it. But then there's other games that I really enjoyed because of the demos that I played of them, such as the ESPN Extreme Games and Jumping Flash. I had a PlayStation demo disc that came with my PlayStation. Those two games were on that. Both of these games I would not have tried out otherwise had they not had demos. I loved them so much, played the heck out of them, ended up buying both games as a result. And it's things like that. Like, I miss the days of demos because the demos are what usually WarioWare. I wouldn't have bought WarioWare without playing the demo first. So I guess it still works on me.
And we were excited for WarioWare.
Oh, thank you.
Did you? I have been trying to find a copy of Jumping Flash forever. I was really excited that it was on the PlayStation Classic.
Yeah,
but I have wanted it's just too expensive at this point, unfortunately. Yeah. So, but
I don't think I have the first one anymore, but I have the second one.
If you try to explain it to somebody and be like, "This is what you do. You just jump. You just try to go higher.
Yeah,
that's it." They'd be like, "Oh, that sounds dumb." And then you play it, and it's like, "This is so addicting."
It is so addicting. And when that game came out, there was no other game like it. Like 3D games like that were so new. It's a great game.
Yep.
But that's my list. It's pretty fun conversation there, but I had to do some critical thinking on this list. But yeah, these are all games I wouldn't have tried otherwise.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that I did.
Oh, show. Yeah, man. Anybody else, if you let us know down in the comments below on this video, if you have any games that you kind of like would not have normally gone to, but then you decided to just take a chance and go out of your comfort zone and try them out, and you ended up really, really enjoying them and kicking yourself for not having gone back and tried it sooner. Let me know. Well, let us know what those are and what your thoughts are. I like hearing from you guys. So yeah, man, I'm starting to lose my voice. I can feel it already.
My mouth is so dry.
You got anything else, man?
I don't.
All right. Next month, December, we are going to be doing gift exchange Christmas stuff. So it's going to be pretty relaxed episode and just us just being friends. So we'll see how that goes. But it should be a pretty chill episode. So we will see you then. Do you got anything you want to plug?
I don't. If you want to follow me on Twitter, that's where I mostly hang out, at Birdazoid, BIRDAZOID.
All right. And I am at Game Room Revival on YouTube. I'm sure you can spell Game Room Revival. It's the only one on there. But if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's JJ Santinello, and you can find links to that on Game Room Revival.
There you go.
So you know what? I will spell it for Christmas. That's what I will do. So
your gift.
We'll do it then. That's my gift to everybody. So even though I've done it before. Anyway, cool. All right. Well, with that, this is the Pixel Perspective signing off. Thank you so much for watching or listening. And as always, what should they do, Adrian?
Keep on gaming.
There.